going to go over removing and installing the electrical fan on a BMW E46 3 Series. This would be on a manual transmission because on that particular vehicle you would have only the electrical fan and not the fan like this style here. This would be on an automatic with a fan clutch, and the fan actually comes off of that. Now, removing the fan would give you access to the front of the vehicle so that you could take the belts off, do a water pump, do a thermostat, do a pulley, or any kind of component that's attached to the front. That would be one of the first steps that you would need to do. First step is to take this cover off right here. It's very simple. I actually just like to use a pair of side cutters, and there's some plastic rivets here and here and here and here. These two are already removed, but you just have to grab it and lift, and that's why I like to use these even more than a pry tool, because it does make it very, very easy to just catch it with a little bit of pressure and use this to pry it up to take that plastic rivet out. I like to keep these together. Just put those aside for now. Alright, so this cover comes off nice and simple. You can separate it right here, or you could separate a little further back and just pop it off from the air box just by giving it a tug. It's only held on by these clips like right here on the sides. This here is the electrical fan right here, and usually they have a sensor that's mounted right here in these clips. That's a AUC or a sniff sensor, and that detects fumes, which then automatically closes the fresh air flap if you have it in auto recirc. This vehicle does not have that equipped, so it is missing. So if you have a little box here, that's what that is. Just go ahead and unplug it, or if you push it back you can unlock it, lift it up and move it out of the way. Now this is an aftermarket fan, it looks like, that somebody's put in, and they were chasing overheating on this BMW, which eventually I'm going to be getting into as I tear down the engine. Hopefully I'll be getting to that soon. Seems like there's been a lot of projects going on at home to prevent me from spending a lot of time on this, but hopefully now that things are calming down I'll have a lot more time to make some videos. So the first thing that I want to do would be go ahead and disconnect this electrical connection right here. This is for my fan. There's clips on each side. Just press them together and lift them up to separate. Always take a quick peek. Make sure that you don't have any corrosion at your pins. If so, that means the gasket, you can see that orange gasket is failing and water's getting in there, so even if you went ahead and replaced the fan, it would still fail because water would be getting into the connector. Now follow this wiring down here that has this little plastic holder, and you just have to go around that to get this wiring out of the way. A lot of times on this BMW, this is going to be brittle, so if you're trying to force these wires through, you can actually crack that little tab. Since this is a newer fan, it's actually pretty solid. You can see it right there. There's an opening right on the back side. So if that snaps off, no big deal. Just throw a zip tie across it just to make sure that your wiring is not going to contact anything or rub. Now on this vehicle it is rather simple to remove this fan. We only have two hold downs. We have a Torx bolt right here, and that's on the passenger side. And on the opposite side we have this little plastic rivet. Now this little plastic rivet usually breaks. This is a newer plastic rivet, so this one probably won't break, but a lot of times the end will snap off. And I'll just go over a couple of tricks to get that off if it happens. To remove this, if you have a prong tool, you can get in there and actually pry it out, but this actually I find works pretty well. So you just have to apply a little bit of pressure and then pry it out just like so, and there's the clip. Move that out of the way. This other one, same thing. I can actually use this to kind of grab it and pop that out. You can see it is just like a little push rivet. Now if this, a lot of times when you're trying to get this piece out right here, it'll snap. So there's a couple of tricks that you can do. If you can still catch the end, again, you can grab it and try to pull it out. Also, this lip here is what holds it, and then it's like a pressure fit with the rivet side. As you can see, when you push these in, push that in, it actually expands the ends. So you could cut around or cut this off as best you can, or even break around it. So once that you get that, usually you can either pop it in, or you can actually take the fan out, because this is the part that's retaining it. So you move the fan out of the way, and then you can actually chew up the rest of it to get it out. Now on the other side, on the passenger side, you do have that Torx. Let's see, I believe it's a T25. So I just have a T25 on a ratchet. And go ahead and take this out. If you have air tools handy, obviously this would be faster. You do have to be careful because you don't want to strip it off, strip the end off, and then have a difficult time getting this out. And as you can see, this is actually a pretty long screw right here. So you don't want to put that by taking something else apart and put that in the wrong spot, because you're going to damage something. Just have to remember that it does go on this side, on the passenger side, and this is for the radiator hold down. Now if you have a fan shroud, I'm trying to think if the fan shroud on the automatic has this type of screw. I think it's actually just held in by those plastic rivets, if I remember correctly. So you just have to pop, I think it's going to have 3 of these out, which is going to have a fan shroud for the automatic, which then you would have the mechanical fan. I want to show you the slider, and right here is where, there we go, where the fan actually will slide down. It goes into this little bracket right there. That's on the passenger side, and on the opposite side, that's actually going to go down to this little hold down right here. So it actually has 2 slots. So this is going to pull straight out, and when you reinstall it, it's going to slide into those 2 locations. Alright, let's go ahead and remove this fan. Actually, so it just pulls straight up, electrical off. I had those 2 hold downs. This is going to slide straight up and out. And this is the fan itself. You could spin it, make sure everything looks good. It's not overly common for these to fail, but they do fail. You want to make sure that this isn't broken around here, around where all these fins touch. If this is cracked or you actually step on it and break it, the fan will be imbalanced and it'll make a racket or even come apart. I've had fans come apart, go straight through the hood. So you definitely want to use caution. If it's broken, replace it. It's going to cause more damage in the long run. Now the electrical connector over here is power, ground, and actually the signal wire, because this is variable speed depending on what the inch computer sends, and I believe it's pulse width modulated signal, which actually can change the speed of this this fan. You can see those hold down locations a lot better. Here's one right here, that's where it slides into, and on the opposite side, right here. Now if you have an automatic, you're going to have a fan shroud, and also it's going to have a spot that slides into these 2 clips down here, here and here, as well as sliding into the slot on the side. One thing to watch out for putting this on, see this little tab right here? This is actually a locking clip where you can slide this to unlock, and that will separate the expansion tank, and if you do bump that and it's loose, you'll be driving down the road and your hose will blow out, and if you overheat this particular engine, you definitely can destroy it. Alright, I'm going to go forward with reinstallation. So I'm just going to just hold this backwards with a little bit of back pressure, and it actually should slide pretty much right into place. There's a little clip here that holds it, and you can pretty much know if you're in or not, but you can take a quick peek just to make sure everything looks good on both sides. Yep. Alright, so that's all set. Next step is just to go ahead and install. I like to start the screw first. On this side, if you tighten this down all the way, it does have a little bit of side-to-side movement. You won't be able to get this tab in, or the plastic retainer. That slides right in, nice and easy. Okay, and I can use side cutters, give that a push to lock that in. Go ahead, snug this down. Don't have to go crazy tightening this. Snug, a little bit of a turn, done. Alright, don't forget to plug in your electronic connector, your electric phone connector. If you have that other sniff sensor, don't forget to mount that back up here so it doesn't get caught in anything. And then at that point, you just have the snorkel. Which the snorkel just pushes on, like so. Line up the holes for these other plastic rivets. Tap it down. And done. Installed.